sister, Maria, is 4 minutes older than me. To many of you, you may know me simply as one of the twins. Thank you so much for coming this morning. No matter what your relationship to our dad was, we are all very happy that each of you are here. After the burial, you were invited to a lunch at Westover in the Cullen Room. Please come join us. We have so much more we want to say about our dad. And we would love to hear any stories that you may have as well. Mark Joseph Hetrick was born on December 21st, 1935, to Bertha and Ralph Hetrick, the youngest of 8 children. One of his siblings is here today, Howard Hetrick. Uncle Howard and Aunt Peggy, it is an honor to have you here. Dad grew up in Hamilton, attending grade school initially at St. Stephen's and later on at St. Peter's. He attended high school at Hamilton Catholic, where he played basketball. His senior year, when he realized he was not going to play much on the varsity team, he decided to switch and play for the CYO League. I remember Dad told me his first game in the CYO League, he scored 27 points. He must have been a pretty decent basketball player. While in high school, he started dating our mom, Florence Fisher. As far as I know, Dad never dated anybody else. Mom, you were truly the love of his life. When they were just 20 years old, on December 26, 1955, they were married at St. Anne's Church in Lindenwold. Mom and Dad were married for 60 years. They didn't waste any time creating a family. Just 9 months after the wedding, Mom gave birth to her first baby girl. That's our sister Mickey. They continued, and after only 11 years of marriage, we had a family of 8 children. All of us are here. Mickey, Marcy, Melanie, Marianne, Monica, Joe, Maria, and Matt. I can tell you from firsthand experience, Mom and Dad created a wonderful family. In 1962, Mom and Dad moved to Queen Acres. They became longtime members of Queen of Peace Church. At their 50th wedding anniversary, in a speech, Dad said that moving to Queen Acres was the best decision that he had ever made. That's how much he loved being part of this community and part of Queen of Peace Parish. For 30 years, Dad worked for the Federal Home Loan Bank Board as a savings and loan examiner, retiring in 1990. Afterwards, he enjoyed traveling with Mom, primarily to Florida to watch the Reds during spring training. In 1990, Mom wanted to go on a cruise, but Dad was content with just going to Florida. She was finally able to convince him by booking a trip on the official cruise of the Cincinnati Reds. Dad got to spend time with Joe Nuxall, Marty Brenneman, and many members of the 1990 World Championship Reds. He also started a second career as groundskeeper at Matandy Steel. About 10 or 15 years ago, I was playing softball for Ohio Casualty. At one of my games, I was surprised when Dad showed up to watch me play. I hadn't even told him I had a game, so I was surprised he was there. Well, it turns out, he wasn't there to watch me play. We were playing a team from Matandy Steel, and Dad was there to watch them. It's a funny story, but the point is, those guys at Matandy, they liked my dad so much that they invited him to come see him play softball. And Dad felt so much a part of their team that he went to watch. Dad loved Matandy Steel, and I think they loved him. There is a plaque there with Dad's name on it, commemorating all the work that he did for them. Dad was a sports enthusiast, and he loved the Cincinnati Reds. Some of the most exciting times in his life were when the Reds won the 1975 and 1976 World Championships. My sisters remember him celebrating by screaming out the window that the Reds had won. Dad attended countless sporting events at Baden High School. When my older sisters were cheerleaders, he always went to their games. I think he enjoyed watching me play football. But he loved watching his grandchildren play sports. Particularly, he loved watching my nephews, Eric, Andy, Kevin, and Eddie Brown, play basketball. A highlight was in 1998 at the State of Ohio Division II semifinals. Baden was playing Cleveland Benedictine. My nephew, Andy Brown, hit a three-point shot at the buzzer to send that game into overtime. Unfortunately, Baden lost that game, and Cleveland Benedictine went on to easily win the state championship. That game was probably the most exciting game that Dad ever watched, maybe the most disappointing as well. Dad enjoyed being a member of New London Hill Swim Club. He enjoyed many picnics there. It seemed like half the members of Queen of Peace Church participated in those picnics. He was an accomplished tennis player. One year, he won the amateur division of the tennis tournament. I can remember him holding that plaque he had received and telling me how proud he was to have won that tournament. Dad loved playing cards, and like a true Hamilton native, pitch was his favorite game. He had a group of friends who a long time got together on Friday nights about once a month and played cards. I can remember lying in bed when the game was at our house and hearing Dad just laugh and laugh late into the night. Dad had some really great friendships. Our dad was not a very affectionate person, but he always took care of us. He made sure we always had what we needed. He instilled many values in us and taught us to be very independent. He may have not said, "I love you," very often, but judging him based on his actions, Dad loved us dearly. When I think of the best ways to describe my dad, two things come to mind. First, Dad was very ordered. I think Dad was an artist of sorts. His artwork was turning chaos into order. He was meticulous. His cars, his yard, his clothes, even his handwriting, all of these were impeccable. If you saw how his closet was organized, you would agree with me, he was an artist. It's a simple thing, but most of all, Dad loved grass. It was often the topic of conversation. He loved taking care of the lawns, and he loved making it look nice. Our house at Queen Mary Lane, Dad gave us kids the backyard to play in. But the front yard, it was off limits. The front yard was his showcase. It was a showcase of an artist. To give you a sense of how others felt about Dad's yard work, the plaque at Matani Steel reads as follows: "We thank you for the many years of dedicated and caring service that helped to make Matani grounds the envy of the city." This ordered life went well beyond his possessions and his lawn. It spilled over into the rest of his life. His finances, his work, his friendships, everything in Dad's life was in perfect order. Second Secondly, Dad was a man of integrity. He always did the right thing. Anyone who knew our dad well knows exactly what I'm talking about. In closing, I need to say thank you to my siblings. I'm especially grateful to my sisters, Mickey and Melanie. Recently, they have worked tirelessly taking care of Dad and his affairs. Over the past year or so, we as a family have made many difficult decisions. We have not always been in total agreement, but we have always operated in complete harmony.